let's talk a bit about lectures. And in the spirit of TOEFL's interweaving nature, let's make sure that this video applies to all reading passages which are academic in nature too. So, your TOEFL could address a range of academic subjects in the areas of natural sciences, social sciences, and humanities. But every TOEFL test is different and will not necessarily test you in a wide variety of fields. Your test could have mostly natural sciences passages and lectures with not a single literature passage or lecture. But the possible range of fields or topics is representative of the various course options offered at universities in the United States. So, how do you know whether you are struggling with the topic itself or just with the English involved in the passage or lecture? If you're having trouble comprehending the core meaning of a passage, a lecture, or another academic task, even after taking extra time to review, then you may need to invest time and energy in learning more about that field of study. Ask yourself, do I lack the knowledge I need to understand this topic regardless of the language? If you don't know what a cell is in biology, even in your native language, then that's something that you want to address. You will need to possess basic knowledge in major academic areas. Research what you don't know. You can use Wikipedia to start. Look for terms that you don't understand in the field with which you are unfamiliar. And then from there, you might search for articles and videos on the topic in sources like Scientific American and National Geographic magazines. Note that these sources are in English, and this is important. You will want to read up on the subject in English too, not just in Vietnamese. You can do both if it's too hard to start in English. High school level introductions to the subject are perfect. You might even skim a high school textbook. If you can get your hands on one, that's good. And the method here is to expose yourself to the ideas that could come up on the exam. And by the way, this isn't just conjecture. Research has shown that familiarity with a topic or field of study is a major predictor of a student's ability to perform well in reading comprehension on standardized tests. Academic vocabulary. If you have the necessary basic knowledge of the field, but are still struggling to understand a passage or lecture in English, then there are two other possibilities. First, perhaps you don't know the vocabulary involved. In this case, study the basic English vocabulary commonly used in that field of study. Alternatively, if you find that you understand the vocabulary and know the content but are still struggling, then the issue is likely grammar or sentence structure. If this is the case, then continue to work on your facility with complex English sentences. Try taking a long or complex English sentence and breaking it down into several shorter ones using simple vocabulary to describe the concepts involved. Finally, refresh your memory of the typical structure of all lectures on the TOEFL listening test. On lectures, use the pictures provided to orient yourself on what's being discussed. Ask yourself these questions to orient yourself at the beginning of lectures. What's the course or class about? What's the specific topic? As you listen, take notes. Ask yourself these other questions as you listen. What is the professor saying about the topic? What studies or research is the professor mentioning? What's surprising or interesting to the professor? What does the professor express an opinion about? The questions on the lectures are more straightforward than they are on the reading section, so that's pretty good news.